All right, the bell is chiming outside, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If I could ask Maggie, if you don't mind, asking the invocation.
Be glad to.
Thank you.
Lord, we're just so glad to be here today and to be of service to you in any way we can. We ask for your guidance, for your discernment, for your wisdom in all that we think about today, and we just thank you so much for being with us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Maggie. All right, item number 1 on the agenda is the Visitor Citizens Forum. Any citizen with business not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the Economic Improvement Corporation. No deliberation or action can be taken on these items because the Open Meetings Act requires an item be posted on the agenda 72 hours before the meeting. Visitors, please limit your presentation to 3 minutes. Do I have any visitors that want to speak?
Yeah, I'm Walt Koenig. I'm 1700 Sidney Baker Street, Kerrville, Texas. I just wanted to give you all a quick update on Gilberto Salinas. He is making his way our way. He is an excellent Chief Operating Officer for the Economic Development Corporation. He'll actually be in town tomorrow morning, and we're going to help him find accommodation. But his office is ready, and his official start date is next Monday, a week from today. So he's excited. We've been talking a lot. We've already begun working together on some things, so we expect lots of good stuff, and I expect to see it very soon. I just want to give you all that update. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Look forward to visiting with you.
Okay, any others? All right, let's move on to item number 2, which is the approval from the of the minutes from the September 17th, 2018 meeting. You all should have received those. I think Santa sent them out a few days back. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the September 17th Economic Improvement Corporation meeting.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion or changes to the minutes? All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. And the minutes are approved unanimously. All right, monthly reports.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
I'm
Amy.
going to start with the financial report. If y'all will turn to a page that looks like this, I think it should be right behind the agenda bill. So we are discussing the month ended September 30th, 2018. Everyone have what they need? Do you need an extra copy?
Well,
If you have an extra, if not, I'll share with Robert. I'll share with Robert, no problem.
Do you happen to have an extra?
I've got a copy.
I just didn't bring it with me.
Yeah, I got it on my iPad.
Here, I have an extra agenda.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I have a mock one pen. I
Here
can
we
borrow.
go.
Okay, Robert, you take it back.
Huh? What? Oh, you get
Oh,
No, take it.
oh my goodness, so much attention. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. So as you know, our fiscal year ends on September 30th, so we are looking at full year financial statements here. We have our audits starting in November, so these aren't final audited statements, but they should be pretty much complete. So I'm going to start with revenues, and I'm looking at the third column over called year-to-date actual. So obviously sales tax is our topic of conversation as always. The month of September we were up 6.4% on a cash basis, and that compares to 8.95% statewide is what sales tax was up. So we weren't up quite as much as the rest of the state or the overall state average, but still was a strong showing for us. Some of the things that to note with that September actual payment, our retail trade, which is our largest category, was up 5.5%. So that's good. And then, we're up 6.4% compared to that 5.5%. So retail trade was a big chunk of it. Most of the rest of it was due to a timing issue with a payment we received from KPUB. So that was not really something that's going to recur. It was just kind of a timing issue, but still a strong showing on retail and also on accommodations and food services, and those are our two largest categories. We also, in the month of September, do a year-end accrual adjustment for financial reporting purposes, and that added another $16,000. So that's not actual cash received, but it's a financial reporting adjustment. But all of that said, we ended the year at $3,459,675, which is at 99.5% of budget. So much better than what it could have been. And when we had those first 6 months that were completely flat and we were concerned about how we were going to end the year, we did turn things around in the last 6 months of the year. We also had strong interest income for the year. We're continuing to see good rates. 2.2% is what we're earning in our tax pool investment account for the month of, as of September 30th. That was the rate. It changes on a daily basis. So all that told brings us to revenues of $3.5 million for the year. And then going down to expenditures during the month, we just had our usual budgeted expenditures, which include the administrative services fees and then the transfer to debt service for the 3 different debt issuances. And then one other thing that we had during the month was the ED set-aside transfer of $500,000 that you'll see there. And that's not really an expenditure, we're just moving it into the project fund, which is kind of our savings account fund. So we moved $500,000 from the operating fund to the savings fund. And let's see, so that means, let's see, if you'll turn to the next page after that, that has a bunch of different analysis on it. There's a few things to note there. You'll see the sales tax revenue analysis. So for the year, we ended up 2.95% ahead of 2017. So at least we were up, a small amount, but at least we were up. And then you can see the next groups of graphs there, the cash and investment balances. EIC at the end of the year has $4.1 million in cash, and that's split between 2 funds, the operating fund and the projects fund. And a little bit further down under the project funding category, you'll see that in that project fund we have $2 million worth of ED set aside and $850,000 worth of housing set aside in that fund. And then the very last part is the project summary. I'm going to let EA speak to that more in his report. But are there any questions regarding the financial statements for September? One other thing I wanted to note is with regards to the Lgion Lift funding. So, you know, initially in our budget for 2018, we had contemplated maybe doing debt service. And then during the year, it was decided that EIC would give a $2 million cash donation to that project rather than debt service. And we've kind of gone back and forth about what the timing of that funding is going to be. The actual funding agreement says that the first payment will be made by 12/31/2018, and the second payment will be made by October 31st, 2019. So we have not moved any of that money to the project yet. We have not started letting those construction contracts or anything like that. But we anticipate doing that in December. So we'll move that first $1 million over before the end of December, and then the second $1 million will go over in October. So that'll actually be fiscal year 2020 when we move that over. But that's why you don't see anything for that yet. I think that's it. Any other questions?
Is the $850,000 on the housing? Tell me what you think that is.
So that is basically like set-aside money that EIC over the course of several years has budgeted in case a housing project comes along. But it is just...
Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I apologize.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. I thought that we wanted to put that up in the, since it isn't designated, that we would put that up in the projects fund deal.
So it is in the project fund. We
But
have
you're
it
just
called...
identifying it down
Yeah,
here?
I'm
Okay.
identifying it as housing because that's what it was budgeted as. But yes, you're correct. There's not any, you know, strings attached
Okay.
or any project that's specifically assigned to. It's just sitting in the projects fund and was initially identified as a budget transfer for a housing project, but there is no housing project that it's specifically tied to.
Thank you.
Nor the same goes for ED set aside.
Exactly, yes. Yes. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to item number 3B, which is a projects update. EA?
Good afternoon. I'm going to go through a couple items and then I want to show you guys a slideshow. I'm not sure we presented a few items to City Council last week on some flooding update, but it has particular attention on some projects that are EIC related, so I want to provide the same to you all as well. Start off with tennis center improvements. You may have seen we've got that project, the engineering complete and the project design complete, and so that is out to bid right now. We've got a pre-bid meeting here coming up the next couple of weeks, so hopefully we'll have good interest on that. We've already started to get inquiries from several contractors, so we're hoping for competitive bids, and hopefully we'll be able to let that project in the December timeframe. So excited about that. Aquatics feasibility study. We had a great town hall last month. We had between 50 and 75 attendees here at City Hall. Really good feedback. We are in the process of implementing a citizen survey right now with some generalized questions on some things that the feasibility consultant is wanting to hone in on the community. And so based off that feedback, we'll then bring that back to the public for them to finally respond at an additional town hall sometime in 2018. Downtown parking garage streetscape, we do intend to seek council permission to bring that application forward to you guys probably in the November timeframe. And then Lgion lift station, we are, as Amy mentioned, we're wrapping up the engineering. It's near completion. We're hoping to have that out to bid here in about the next month as well. So then I want to just quickly go through the regional flooding event. You know, many of us were praying for rain all of last year. It just happened to all come in September and October, and you can see it. We got hit pretty hard. That red area there, that line, kind of going right through Kerrville. Fortunately, we were just a little bit on the edge from what some areas like Junction got, but certainly just a tremendous amount of flooding. We were fortunate that we didn't have what Junction had and what carried on to Lake LBJ and elsewhere, but we did get quite a surge in that mid-October time frame. Just go through a few pictures here for those of you maybe who didn't see it. This is vast majority of this is Louise Hayes Park, kind of the other side of Louise Hayes Park. Splash pad, you can see Lupe the Bass there. These are some of the local area boat ramps. This is looking down at the 534 bridge and Kerrville Shriner Park there on the right-hand side.
Let me ask a question.
Yes,
Just
sir.
curious, did the river flood anywhere else other than the park here? I mean, I don't know historically, did it like flood further upstream anywhere into town at all or not? Just in the
yeah,
park?
I mean, it flooded all the way through. I can show you some pictures of
Oh.
Nimitz. It was about 6 to 8 feet above the Nimitz Dam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can see it right there.
Yeah.
So that's the water treatment plant there on the other side.
Okay, wow.
We did have a rescue event that occurred at Morris and Town Creek. Fortunately, they were able to pull the driver out of the car. Within about 5 minutes, the car washed down. So overall, the river crest is about 17, 18 foot above normal level, depending on where you were at and how narrow the valley was in that area. At peak, we lost the gauge just south of Nimitz Lake, but roughly a 50,000 cubic foot per second event. So not nearly the 284,000 the Junction saw 2 weeks in a row, but still sizable event for the area, certainly. Impacted damages, and this is why I wanted to go over this material for you guys. A little bit of stuff at the Boardwalk Pavilion. This is some of the elements in Louise Hayes Park, particularly along the river trail. This is the crossover bridge there from Tranquility Island over to the library prime connection to the river trail. This was splash pad in Louise Hayes Park, more Louise Hayes Park. This is a very large cypress tree at G Street that is over the river trail area, and we're in the process of getting bids to get that removed, but certainly has an impact on the river trail. These are some of the damage that occurred at the reused distribution bridge near Loop 534. We're in the process of assessing, doing a full analysis of that facility.
Did y'all have divers down there today?
We had divers on Friday, actually.
Friday.
Kerrville Fire Department was able to lend us their resources and the rescue dive team to see what we had underwater.
Mhm.
So fortunately, it does look like quite a bit of the infrastructure is there pretty nearby. So
Good.
hopefully it won't be
Good.
too bad to remove. Another EIC project, this is River Trail West. As you can see, we did have some gravel that went over in some of that construction area. This is some of the newly constructed facility. And then we did have some scouring, but very glad to relay to you all that we really didn't have any significant infrastructure damage. So the design held up well. This was really the first flood test for the river trail of any magnitude, and the trail performed great. We really didn't have any infrastructure damage. A little bit of scouring, a little bit of debris, but for the most part, no failure. So we're very,
That's
very
great.
pleased with how it performed. And this is just Guadalupe Peak. Again, that bottom picture shows that's the gauge actually down laying against the bank. So not reading very accurately there. Just tremendous job by our staff and getting out there and cleaning up debris over the last couple of
Bringing
weeks.
home
And
the dinner.
yeah, and they're still at it, doing a little animal rescue there, and getting the trail and our other facilities up and running. So just want to let you guys know some of our infrastructure that performed very well and some that got damaged, and we're in debris removal and assessment right now, and we'll probably continue to be for some period of time. So
Well, as a survey of one on the river trail, people, it's really astounding how quickly people get used to using something like that.
yes,
And it's still closed in that matter.
Yes.
And I was walking it twice and everybody was saying, oh boy, I really miss having it, being able to go the whole way. So it's really a wonderful amenity and it's being used and being missed.
absolutely. Absence makes
Oh, and
the-
I saw fish, dead fish on the trail.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
There was
few
a
of them.
wildlife
There
site.
you
There's
go.
a few of them.
There you go.
Well, I just want to say, I think y'all the city in general did a fantastic job of getting G Street open like the next day. I think it was within 24 hours. Although you can't use the sidewalk, the truth is the through traffic that was used to using it and other places too, you were just Johnny on the spot. So thank you very much. I didn't get to say it in the council meeting, but I wanted to just say great thank you to everyone. I wish more people were here that deserves the credit, but you can spread the word
Yeah,
around.
we
I
absolutely
appreciate
will.
it.
Yeah, big kudos to our field staff and our folks that made it happen, are out there in the rain and
Yep.
the flooding and
That's-
whatnot, making sure
yeah.
folks are safe. So
Including yourselves. Thank you very much.
thank you. That's all I have, sir.
All right. Thank you, EA. Moving on to item number 4, which is a discussion about changing our November meeting date due to the Thanksgiving holiday. Remind me, please, what our scheduled date is? 19th. And so that's for us to talk about.
Somewhere I remember someone's asking us if the 29th would work.
29th and December 3rd, I think, were the 2 days.
And I said yes to the 29th.
Yeah, so we
Excuse
had
me, 26th.
tentatively put an email out to the commissioners to see if Monday the 26th might be a possibility.
Okay.
I think there was one member who definitely could not attend that date, and then one that was a maybe. I'm not sure that we took a poll on the 3rd, so it's up to you
26
guys.
works for me.
Me
It's
too.
good with me.
Me too.
I'm good.
Okay.
12/3?
No,
26th.
26, fine with me.
I can get rid of my family.
Well, now we have an excuse, Robert.
So I guess that since it says for possible action, does this require a vote? Okay. So do I hear a motion to move the meeting to the 26th?
I move we change the meeting to the 26th of November.
November 26th. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor of that change, raise your right hand. And that passes unanimously. All right.
And then we didn't put this on the agenda officially, but just kind of get a tentative feel from the group on how y'all felt about December. Your third meeting will fall on the 17th, so that's a full week ahead of Christmas holidays. We just kind of wanted to gauge where everyone was at with travel plans and whatnot.
Good by me.
It's
That
good by
one
me.
works for me.
Okay.
17.
It's fine.
Okay. We'll
So
just plan
12,
on-
17 for the next
We'll just plan on keeping the regular December meeting on December 17th then.
Very good.
Okay.
All right. So item number 5 is executive session, and I do think we have 3 items that we wanted to talk about in there that deal with. I'm looking for which one of these are going to fall under. Give me a second.
Maybe 55172.
That might be one, but it's really, I think, 551087. Would you agree?
That's right. Yeah.
So if I could have a motion to move into executive session,
Go ahead.
551.087.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we go in an executive session under section 551.087.
I second it.
All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand, and we will move into executive session. Okay, we'll move back into regular session. It is 5:08. No action was taken on anything discussed in the executive session. And so item number 6 is possible action for items that were discussed in executive session.
I'd like to make a motion that we call a public hearing with a funding agreement to follow along later on the November 26th next EIC meeting regarding the Thompson Road Infrastructure Extension
Okay.
request.
Little discussion on that. It's a public hearing and a funding agreement on that one at the
Okay.
next meeting.
And a funding agreement on the
So
next
is that-
meeting.
Are you willing to change your motion?
Sure, should I start over?
Wait,
Sure.
so I have a just, are we
Sure.
gonna vote on the funding agreement next time, or just they're gonna present it?
I think they're just gonna present it.
Well, we'd have to
I
decide
thought we
whether
were
to
gonna
vote
try
on
and
it after
Right.
they bring it.
okay.
That could happen
It
at the
could
next
happen.
meeting.
Okay. I'll just say it again, just to make
Okay.
sure. Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we call a public hearing for our next meeting, which is November 26th, for the Thompson Road Infrastructure Extension Request and Funding Agreement. Does that cover it?
That does. We have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor, say, raise your right hand. And that passes unanimously. All right, and then we had one more item.
On the Shriner University Trail expansion, I'd like to make a motion that at our next meeting on the 26th, we have a public meeting and presentation from Shriner on their vision for the trail. And later, at a later time, if it's required or deemed necessary, we'll go into a funding agreement public meeting. But right now, it's just a presentation.
All right, we have that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Teamwork.
All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand.
Note that I abstain.
Okay. So we have one
I
abstention.
didn't think we could abstain, did not know that. I would have abstained previously. Can you
He has
abstain?
to,
Actually, the conflict of interest statute that applies to council, I was just talking to Ms. Kenneth about this, Ken about this, doesn't apply to y'all. Y'all are a corporate body. So just a standard conflict of interest that applies to corporations in Texas, and he's good with that, with, abstaining.
okay.
I'm confused. Is he abstaining because he has a conflict of interest?
I think so, yes.
Oh, okay.
See, my
So-
wife's on the trustees
Yeah,
at Shriner.
no, that's fine. But on any other topic, we have to vote yes or no, is that, if there's not a conflict?
Well, so
Oh,
council
I
has a
voted.
charter provision that
Yes.
requires them to vote on anything unless there's a conflict. That doesn't necessarily apply to y'all. It doesn't apply to y'all because you have a different conflict of interest statute that applies. And so, bottom line, he's doing something that's fine to do,
No,
appropriate to do.
I guess I was asking in regards to the previous vote on the I was told that I had to vote yes or no and could not abstain on the previous vote, so I was just curious in the future to know.
On this vote?
On the Thompson Road vote,
This evening?
yes.
Going to abstain?
You want to change your vote?
Yeah, I would have changed it's too late now.
No,
but
it's not. You can change it.
Oh, I missed that discussion.
There wasn't any discussion
I
here.
did,
Oh,
I
okay.
discussed it
Yeah.
with another city official.
We'd let him change his vote, wouldn't we?
Sure.
I mean, I don't know why not.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say this. I would urge you all to vote unless you really have a conflict. I think
I'm gonna leave my vote the way it is. Let's
Mr.
go
McKinney
on.
has a
We're gonna vote again
potential
next month.
conflict. Right.
That's right. You
Yeah.
get another chance to abstain if you want to, or feel the need.
All right, so all votes are
Cast.
Cast.
cast and
Right.
registered, correct?
Right.
All right. So moving on to item number 7, which are items for future agendas. Anybody have anything to add? All right, item number 8, any announcements? All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. We are adjourned, 5:13. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.